All right, well, welcome to another Impact and Influence. Really excited as I was running through my head about how I'd introduce the one and only Gavin Croft that needs no introduction for any viewer that is dialing in. I thought to myself, best auctioneer in the country, well, subjective. Best bloke who has made a commitment a decade ago to be in the arena as one of, if not the top auctioneers in the country. Never seen anything like it. Someone commit to their craft like that, Crofty. It's been awesome to watch you grow. And now, obviously a couple of years now in the big job at Ray White, Chief Auctioneer Ray White Queensland, after many thousands of auctions out in the trenches across Australia and New Zealand over the last decade, mate. Just for the audience, quick couple of moments, mate. What are the two or three biggest challenges for you on your plate as the Chief Auctioneer Ray White Queensland?
Yeah, thanks, Darren. Mate, I think one of the things is we've, over the years, Queensland's always been challenged as an auction market. We haven't been as sophisticated as the Sydneys or the Melbournes or the Aucklands over the years. And I think when I look back over the years, we sort of really struggled to punch through that 10,000 auction mark as a group, or sorry, as an industry rather. And it was kind of interesting. You'd see it based on the momentum of the market and the flow of the market. You'd sort of see, all right, plenty of energy out there. Let's run auctions. Oh, hold on. Market started to soften, and we'd see a lot of people run away. It's kind of interesting as you work inside of these other more sophisticated auction markets, Sydney and Melbourne and Auckland, they'll run towards auctions in those. And it was really interesting to watch Queensland, how it unfolded for so long. But the great news is, we had a little trigger that happened 2 years ago. It's called COVID. And we, like every market across Australia, had some real energy. And, the pulse and energy of the Southeast Queensland market, the broader Queensland market, was outstanding. And that resulted in a 12-month period of an average of 7+ registered bidders per auction. And then what that did is that was the catalyst that I think opened up. And like with anything in life, Darren, the more agents do things, the better they get. Or it doesn't matter what it is in life. The more you do, the better you get, the more practice and the more reflection you do. So kind of interesting, last year, we moved as an industry here in Queensland to 16,000 auctions. We had some 40,000 people we know registered to bid at auction across the industry. The game's changing. And the game's changing with speed. And we're seeing great auction agents who are very good in their execution to be able to deliver at a level, control days on market, be able to do things that we haven't seen. And just as a final piece there at Ray White, we had three of the top 5 auction agents in Australia were from Queensland in the last 12 months. So really, what that says to us, it's changed and it's here. The question is, where to from here? And we really feel the next steps, 20,000 plus auctions, are on its way here in Queensland.
Yeah, great point you raise, right? Other markets where the culture is so deep in auction, it's been around for 20, 30, 40 years, it's not a new thing. Whether the market's up or down, the sophisticated businesses embrace the practice. And that's a really great leading point. Gav, one thing I've seen you do really well, and both as a, sort of wear a couple of hats, over my last 18 months or a couple of years, having done 40, 50, 60 auction campaigns with you as my auctioneer. And I can't thank you enough both for the value of it, and this is probably another audio tape at some point, the value of a great auctioneer. But conversely, thinking from the auctioneer's perspective, what makes the difference in execution for the better auction agents versus those that are just having a bit of a go? What are the key hallmarks of that difference, would you say?
I think what it does, it takes time to really understand and embed your practice as an auction agent. And quite frankly, I don't think a lot of people are prepared for the journey, that it is a slightly different skill set. It is a different way of thinking. And traditionally, for me, auctions are really about two things. Auctions are about good decision-making, first and foremost, and auctions are about changing behaviour. Some of the best auction agents, I would suggest we've had markets that have gone from 97% of the sales being conditional, 14-day finance, 21-day, 7-day finance calls, the 7 or 14-day building and pest. So conditional, we've had 97% of the transactions done in that way. We've turned around in 18 months where over 60% of the transactions were unconditional. Now with that, that's a challenge. That doesn't come easy, but that changes the behaviour of the market. And that can only be done by getting very good at this practice and very good at this skill set. So we've been able to do that, but with that sets some real challenges, and particularly when an agent's in a private treaty mindset, it is very difficult to navigate early. And what we've learned, and we've been able to help private treaty agents deal with it, navigate it, understand the pressure points, the challenges that they're going to go through for their first 10 and 15 auctions. And Darren, at that stage, that's when they get breakthrough. Very few get to the 15 and get there and say, well, I'm not the best at it. I'll go back to what I know. And they're right on the precipice. They're almost right on the cusp of really driving and taking that next step.
And so to those that, I mean, I've just interviewed a few great people this morning, one of which told me, I mean, as an operator writing nearly $2 million in fees, I think she did one auction 5 years ago. So for her, she's vehemently clear that that's not the pathway for her and her business. What do you say to her? What do you say to her clients? Like, why? I'm the choir and I'm converted. But I think there's a space for both, right? There's a space for private treaty, there's a space for auction. What do we say to someone like that salesperson who's just vehemently against it, or the marketplace that she's in? What, like those sellers, what do they need to know? Why do they need to know about this process?
We've, and I think this is the thing, we want to change behaviour. Inherently, as real estate agents, we have a focus that should be twofold. One is to get the very best price for our sellers, but most importantly, and it's fused in with that, is to get that on the very best terms.
Yeah.
Now, if you've sold a property and you've got to wait around for 14 days or 21 days and wait for a finance approval to come through, oh, hold on, we've just got an extension, what do we do? People want certainty. Life's changed, life moves really quick. People want certainty. And I think as the first port of call is to deliver the very best price, to create competition, to create an environment that allows competition to unfold, but then also to do that on the very best terms so our sellers can move forward. Comfortability. So I think coming back, that should always be our first port of call. Of course, it's to get the best price, but it's got to be on the best terms. And what I say is, belief is everything. Some people believe in whatever it might be, but your belief system will dictate what is right or wrong in your world. And that's okay. That's right. But inherently, we've got to come back to, what are we there to do for sellers? We're there to create competition. We're there to allow sellers, I think sellers need a good 3 weeks to sit back, absorb and digest, get as many insights, as much information, as much depth as to the marketplace and the buyers inside of it to make a great decision. Then to do that with the best price and the best terms. It's my belief. Doesn't make it right or wrong, but inherently that's what I believe, and I think that's the right thing for my sellers. Be interesting being on the other end as a seller and tell you that's what I want. That's what I want. So, I'll leave that up to people to decide. And I think inherently, what do you believe in? And what would you like to create for your clients? And what would you like to achieve for them?
Very good. Gav, recently you've really broken ground, my observation with, you recently just did an online in-rooms online auction for 3 businesses that were geographically probably 100 kilometres dispersed between the 3 of them. It was a real mind bender for me to start with when I first started hearing from you and talking to you about this. But I actually think it's quite revolutionary, and there's a few good learnings. I'm not necessarily sure what they are, and you probably had a chance more than me to reflect on it. But 3 offices from 100 kilometres apart with, every property bar one out, I think, was it 70 properties?
55, yep.
55 properties, rather. everybody bar one with a bid on it, a massive clearance rate comparative to standard, and all online. Do you want to just talk me through maybe that and what happened with that? Because that was
Yeah.
just, I think for those that are dialing into this short, sharp 15 minutes or so, some great lessons out of that. You really did something, I think, that was probably an industry first here.
Yeah, I think part of what we've got to do, sometimes you've just got to challenge the status quo. You know, that's not geographically speaking. You normally bring properties together of similar markets. What we just wanted to challenge is that's kind of irrelevant. Today's consumer is different to what they were 5 and 10 years ago. We talked
Yeah.
about certainty. Yeah, we talked about certainty, and you know, people want to be able to have that. They also want to be able to do things in their own time now. So we had, Darren, it was really extraordinary. We had over 2,000 people join us online to observe 55 auctions across southeast Queensland.
Yeah.
And to do that, they did that from their lounge rooms. They did that from their car. A couple of people pulled over, of course, Darren. But then they did that from their work. And that's today's consumer. They're busy, but they also want to be able to secure the right piece of real estate that is part of securing their dreams and their next stage of life. And there's an old rule, first rule in marketing, make it easy for people to buy. And I think that's what we did. And it was really interesting, the response that we got from the marketplace. And there would be no other opportunity to bring 2,000 people together in one forum to feel not only the energy and pulse of a variety of different markets, but also to be able to land the property that they want. We're able to bring that all together. But the reason we did it that way is we wanted to bring some of our best auction businesses together who operate on a very similar platform and operate in a similar way. We wanted to see, when you bring the best together on a certain platform, what could that achieve for their clients? And it was extraordinary. So yeah, I think it was 75% clearance. So 3 in every 4 properties sold under the hammer. Some 500 bids taken over 5 hours. It was consistent. An average of 4 registered bidders per property. It was highly impressive. But I think when you bring
and even the eyeballs, Crofty, 35 to 40 sets of eyeballs per property on average. You know,
Yeah.
2,000 people registering to jump online and have a look.
Yeah.
I couldn't hire out the convention centre for that.
Correct.
It was staggering, actually.
Yeah, it is. It is, and what it demonstrates, it demonstrates consumerism today and what they want and how we can deliver it. But certainly, the way that business is moving and what our options are, and that there are some agents who are taking advantage of that, and to be able to get that reach on behalf of their clients, yeah, it's pretty cool, mate. It's pretty cool.
Well done, mate. Excellent. Really cool. I've got a question, maybe a little off auction, and more around when salespeople reach their capacity. So some offices are really admin heavy, some offices are really admin light. Some people get a higher split, some people get a lower split. There's all sorts of variances to agents and agencies. You know, the ones that reach the sort of ceiling of their own capacity on their own, I'm full. I'm cooked at 30 deals, or I'm cooked at 40 deals, or I'm cooked at 10, whatever the number is sort of irrelevant. Any advice for those? Like, I mean, you've got a real breadth of industry experience now. It's like, it's be 20 years ago that you and I were having a chat about a sales management role, and we've had a few sort of few radios together since then. But you've got such a breadth of experience. What would you say to people who are umming and ahhing about putting on an associate, putting on a PA, joining someone in partnership? They've got an inherent sense that they need to expand, like they need to get more than their capacity, but they don't really know about the right way to go about it. Where do you go there?
It's really interesting. So we know that agents get busy, and we know that things fall by the wayside because the priority is the transaction and the deal. But in my experience, what I've observed, and I was this personally, and people say, well, you're an advocate for auctions. My first 3 years of real estate, I was private treaty only. Yeah. And I thought, why else would I explore
Trained
that?
180 degrees, right, the other way.
Definitely. So I've been down both paths, but for me, it's what does it deliver? And where I got caught, I could have 2 or 3 deals going at any one time in negotiations. And so when you have 3 negotiations unfolding, your day's gone. Yeah, you've got contracts to work through, you've got offers, you've got counter offers, you've got driving, you've got meetings. Mate, everything else falls by the wayside. And the one thing that we've learned about the auction process, the power is everything you do is exactly the same as private treaty. You do open homes, you do callbacks, you do a vendor, assisting and managing, and you do great market. You do all the same things, but the difference is the speed of the negotiation is the key piece. And one of an agent that I just left this morning, a gentleman by the name of Brad Wilson, was doing about 60 deals a year and was at absolute capacity with the negotiation, all private treaty. We've moved his business now to auction, and I think this year, I know in his first year he's just completed, I think, 125 auctions and has sold 75% of them under the hammer, 90% then sold thereafter. Now, what he's done is been able to compress hours upon hours a week of negotiation time into this limited time on a Tuesday night where he brings buyers together, puts them into competition, demonstrates and showcases the market, and reduces that. So we can spend more time with buyers, more time with vendors, and more time being able to assist fellow owners without the area. So we see this time and time again. So structure of time is so important. Auction is one viable method. The other one is, and single agents find auctions difficult because buyer work is at the foundation, at the very heart of a great auction business. Yeah. And the better the buyer work, the better the execution. So you need a team around you to handle buyers. You need the lead agent to list and handle vendors and do buyer work. But then you also need the administration piece to be able to do it. But the one thing we know, when you've got a cash unconditional contract, as soon as the hammer falls, there's no building and pest to be able to complete. There's no valuations to be running around in. There's a lot of, you're not waiting around for 14 days. You're not following up. There's a lot of time saved.
A lot of efficiency. Yeah.
A lot of efficiency, mate. So I think they're the things that you start to think about and go, what do I need? What should I do? And what should I explore? And I always say no right or wrongs here, but for those that explore and open their mind to it, I think have really paid some good dividends.
Good on you. Well, Gavin, so great to catch up. I promise to keep this shorter than 15 minutes so that I can pump you another 2 or 3 times throughout the year ahead, mate. Love to hear from you. You're doing an amazing job, Crofty. It's such a privilege to see someone who's gone out there and made a real decision to master their craft and put the time and energy effort in, mate. And it's great to spend some time with a leader in property in this country. Thanks, mate.
And great to see you back on the training platform, mate. Love it. See ya.
Good on you, Crofty. Thank you.
Yeah.